Well, the Biden administration is unveiling new Title IX rules that would bar federal funding for schools and colleges that enforce bans on trans girls playing on girls' sports teams. If approved, the proposal would still give schools some flexibility in some instances to ban transgender athletes depending on factors like age and sports. It is expected to face several major legal challenges. The president of a conservative watchdog group says, quote, without a doubt, institutions are going to err on the side of, quote, inclusion because they fear the wrath of the education department. The U.S. achieving the department's end goal while allowing them to maintain plausible deniability that they coerce districts into doing so. At least 20 states right now impose bans on restrictions for transgender athletes. Let's bring in Clay Travis. He is the founder of Outkick. Clay, so the Biden administration Title IX policy already prevented discrimination based on gender, but now this new rule would prevent discrimination based on gender identity. So critics say that essentially forces these sports teams to recognize the gender of student athletes. Excuse me.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Their gender identity rather than biological identity.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. This is crazy. What the Biden administration is doing is they are expanding Title IX, which has allowed women's athletics to roar to record popularity by treating men and women's athletics equally. I mean, for people out there who don't really understand how this applies on a collegiate level, for instance, it requires roughly equal scholarships for both men and women in a college setting. What they are now saying is men who identify as women should be counted as women by and large unless you're going to specifically exclude them. This is crazy, right? Men are bigger, stronger, and faster than women. We've seen this play out, whether it's the Leah Thomas situation or every sport. Bigger, stronger, faster, biologically, right? This is the reality. This is why men's and women's sports are separated. This is why there is a women's track and field gold medal for every sprint, and there also is for women. If biological men are allowed to compete against women, what we see is they directly knock women out of being able to win championships because biology is real. This is crazy. This is radical. This also is anti-everything in sports, right? We have age limits in sports. We have weight limits for boxing fights. Heck, if you're in high school, the small high school typically does not compete against the gargantuan high school. We try to insist on an equal playing field for athletes. Remember, just take it outside of this gender identity ridiculousness. A few years ago, there was a 14-year-old pitcher in Little League Baseball who was competing against 12-year-olds. He was from the Bronx. They found out that he was lying about his age. It was a massive scandal because a 14-year-old boy is going to be a lot better than a 12-year-old boy, especially when a 14-year-old boy might well have gone through puberty. This is madness. And the fact that the Biden administration is making it more likely and that reasonable Democrats won't speak out against this, I don't even see it as remotely political. It's just the essence of fair play and competition.
So somebody who agrees with you is champion swimmer Riley Gaines. She was forced to essentially barricade herself in a room at San Francisco State last night after giving a speech about saving women's sports. She posted this video on Twitter. Take a listen.
Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! You crying?
She says that she was ambushed and hit physically 2 times. What do you say to that, Clay?
Well, Riley Gaines is a hero. And unlike this embarrassing Nike, for instance, using a man who's pretending to be a woman to sell sports bras and leggings, Riley Gaines is a hero. And I think the real tragedy here is that so few women's athletes have been able or willing to join Riley Gaines and speak out against this. In the same way that if you look at J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter author, look, no one is saying that people can't identify as whatever gender they want to identify as if they're adults and it makes them happier. But this idea that this just happened in Canada recently, a guy with a beard decided he was going to identify as a woman and set all-time weightlifting records. Again, men are bigger, stronger, and faster than women. If you allow men who have gone through puberty, who are full-fledged men to suddenly decide that they're going to identify as women, they are going to win every single women's competition in America and around the world. So the fact that this is not being addressed, and that these violent protesters, by the way, I think they should be held accountable. I hope that Riley Gaines presses charges against those people. We've moved really rapidly from I am woman, hear me roar, to anyone can be a woman and a man can become the greatest women's athlete of all time. That's where we are right now. It's wrong. People need to speak out against it.
Well, one California school board just voted to uphold this policy. It directs staff to keep a student, this is related, keep a student's gender transition secret from the student's family. The vote happened in Chico, California, and it comes as the district there is facing a lawsuit over this exact issue. What's happening is a mother there is suing. She says that a guidance counselor at her daughter's school worked to help her daughter transition, but never informed the family and actually proactively kept the information from her. She spoke at a school board meeting. Take a listen to what she said.
I understand that you are trying to find ways to create a safe environment for all children within our district, but keeping secrets from parents is not the way to do it. Treating every parent as a potential threat to their kids is wrong. It's a slippery slope to allow any adult in our schools to keep secrets from parents.
So critics like Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders say that secrecy policies are actually damaging to both kids and parents. Listen to her argument.
The idea that they are capable at that age of making some of those life-altering permanent decisions, they're just not prepared and ready to make that.
So, Clay, if we're talking about an age limit here, when do you, draw a sports analogy here, when should kids, teens, young adults be empowered to make their own decision about their gender identity and how they compete?
I don't think you should. It's a great question. And to me, this is not a difficult answer. I don't think anyone under the age of 18 should be able to begin gender reassignment surgery, should be able to take hormone blockers or anything like that. I don't think it should be permissible. I think it should be banned nationwide. And again, take it out of this gender situation. Look, if you are trying to get a tattoo, most states won't allow you to do it until you're 18 years old. You can't drink a beer until you're 21. You can't rent a car until you're 25. But you're going to allow someone to have their breast removed at 14 years old? I think it's crazy. I don't think it should be permissible. I think you should have to be an adult to enter into these decisions.
All right. Obviously, trans activists, teen activists feel a lot differently. But thanks for coming on and sharing your vision here, Clay. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you all. Have a good Easter holiday.
You as well.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.